You're back for another deep dive, which means you're ready to cut through the noise and get to the heart of what matters.
And we wouldn't leave you hanging.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
We've got our hands on the latest issue of the Ottawa Diplomat. This one's dated April 15th, 2025.
Exactly. And for those who've joined us before, this publication offers a really interesting lens on the world, especially as it continues to navigate, the whole post-Clampett crisis landscape.
And this issue is packed, really.
It is, covering everything from the political maneuvering in the western states, the ever-present complexities with the Orcish territories.
Right.
And even a few surprising personal stories that kind of ripple outwards.
It really underscores something we've seen time and again in our deep dives, doesn't it?
How interconnected everything is.
Yeah, exactly. A decision over in the western states could have implications for, trade routes, which then affects stability somewhere else. It's a fascinating web.
It really is.
So, our goal today is to pull this issue apart, piece by piece, give you the essential insights. Where better to start than with the western states? Their presidential election is heating up fast.
Yeah, the lead article focuses right on the finalized presidential tickets.
Yeah.
For both major parties.
Okay.
So for Bobby Jo Bradley, the current interim president, she's chosen Diggory Talbot as her running mate.
Talbot, right? Brings a lot of experience from his time in office already.
A wealth of experience, yeah.
Yeah.
It feels like a strategic move, doesn't it?
To solidify that image of a steady hand.
Exactly. Someone who's already navigated the complexities of this whole post-crisis era.
Okay, then on the other side, Gillis.
Farshad Gillis, yeah. He's teamed up with LT General Davis.
General Davis. Now, he has a reputation, doesn't he? Decisive action.
He does. And pairing him with Gillis, who's already focusing hard on security, it sends a pretty clear message.
Yeah, it really amplifies Gillis's core promise, right? Stability, a strong approach to any lingering threats.
Definitely. So, with these tickets now set, the stakes of this election have undeniably escalated. It's not just potential candidates anymore.
No, it's specific teams, specific directions they represent.
And the article really frames it as this fundamental choice for the western states.
How so?
Well, on one side, you've got Bradley and Talbot offering a message centered on maybe hope, inclusivity.
Appealing to those who want a more unified, perhaps more progressive future.
That seems to be the angle.
Yeah.
While Gillis and Davis, they're presenting a platform built squarely on security and economic growth.
That's likely to resonate strongly with voters prioritizing rebuilding law and order. Stability, basically, after everything.
Absolutely. It's a classic political contrast, amplified by the unique circumstances the western states are in.
Speaking of their future direction, there's another key article tackling the ongoing debate about the permanent capital.
Ah, yes, the capital conundrum.
That's been bubbling for a while now, hasn't it?
It has. Seattle's been the temporary capital, which made sense pragmatically right after the crisis.
Sure.
But the Senate's decision, this is the key bit, to defer the permanent capital vote until after the election.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it injects the whole issue directly into the campaign. It's not just administrative anymore.
It's political now.
Totally. And the article lays out the main contenders, their arguments.
Okay, so Seattle.
Seattle's got the advantage of being the current capital, the infrastructure's there, recent history. It's a symbol of resilience, really.
Having been the center of operations during that really tough time makes sense.
Then you have San Jose, the tech heartland.
Right. The argument there is innovation, economic dynamism, the future.
Pretty much. Placing the capital there signals a commitment to tech advancement, that kind of thing.
And Fort Pontchartrain. Can't forget them.
Definitely not. Largest city in the western states, most populous, plus it's centrally located.
So accessibility representing the whole population.
That's the pitch. But then there's this other, more symbolic argument.
Which is?
Returning to New Bubtussel, the old Washington, D.C.
Wow. Reclaiming the historical capital.
Yeah, it carries significant weight for those who see the western states as the direct successor to the old U.S. powerful image. Reunification continuity.
But the instability there, the Orcish presence.
That's the huge catch. The article rightly points out it's a very, very risky proposition right now. The symbolism is strong, sure, but the practicalities.
A major hurdle. This whole capital thing really highlights the identity crisis or maybe formation of the western states.
It does. And the Diplomat makes a strong case that this could be a pivotal issue, influencing how people actually vote.
Okay, moving on. The election race takes another interesting turn. The merchant's lead endorsement.
Yes, reported endorsement of Farshad Gillis by the Merchants League. That carries some serious weight, doesn't it?
It really does. The Merchants League, that's significant financial power, a huge network of business leaders.
Their official backing gives Gillis a substantial boost. Funding, obviously, but also organizational reach.
And it strengthens his image, right?
Yeah.
The candidate for economic recovery, stability.
Connects right back to his core message. It's a very strategic alignment, emphasizing economic growth, secure business environment. The Merchants League fits perfectly.
Appeals directly to that community.
And anyone prioritizing economic prosperity, really.
But the diplomat also notes the criticism that comes with it.
Inevitable, yeah. Concerns are being raised about Gillis being, perhaps, too close to large corporations.
Potential conflicts of interest.
That's the question voters have to consider. Will his policies mainly benefit these big players, maybe at the expense of smaller businesses or, the average citizen?
Valid questions about whose interests get prioritized if he wins.
Absolutely.
So, with all this going on, where does the election actually stand? The headline, election neck and neck, kind of gives it away, huh?
Pretty much sums it up. The latest polls show an incredibly tight race. Bradley and Gillis.
Razor-thin margin.
Depending on the poll, one might have a slight edge, but it's all within the margin of error. Essentially tied.
Wow. Shows how divided the electorate is. This isn't shaping up to be a landslide.
Not at all. And it seems the VP picks, Talbot and Davis, have had a real impact.
Talbot's experience appealing to those wanting reassurance.
Likely. And Davis's military background reinforcing Gillis's security message in, an uncertain world.
These choices weren't random, clearly aimed at swaying specific voter groups.
No doubt. What's really striking is the level of uncertainty the article conveys. It's that close.
So even minor things in the final weeks could tip it.
Could be decisive. Voter turnout in different areas, demographics, that'll be critical too. The outcome is really far from predictable.
Okay, let's shift focus slightly. Alice Figueroa, the diplomat, keeps tracking her influence, her book tour. Still a vocal Bradley supporter.
Oh, very much so. Her novel, Unspoken Bonds, it continues to be this significant cultural touchstone.
Right.
And she's strategically using her public appearances, her tour, to champion Bradley.
How's she doing that?
Drawing explicit parallels between the themes in her book openness, empathy, challenging norms, and Bradley's political platform.
So the book tour is basically a campaign platform now.
Effectively, yeah. Resonating strongly with progressive artistic communities who already connect with her work. Her voice carries weight there.
Gives Bradley's campaign a certain cultural cachet with those groups.
It does. But the article also mentions the criticism she's facing.
Blurring the lines between art and politics.
Exactly. Some commentators are accusing her of that, questioning the objectivity of her endorsements.
Well, that's a valid concern, isn't it, when a prominent artist campaigns so actively, especially when their art touches on political themes.
It invites scrutiny. Is the support purely ideological? Are there other motives? How does it affect her artistic integrity? All fair questions.
Okay. Let's turn to another potentially huge development. Deseret. The quorum is convening in Salt Lake City.
Yeah, the diplomat reports on their deliberations. And their future relationship with the Western states feels particularly crucial right now.
It does. The article hints at these underlying tensions. A feeling in Deseret that their contributions during the Clampett crisis,
especially the Provo Legion's efforts,
right, haven't been maybe fully acknowledged. Feeling overlooked.
That seems to be the sentiment, despite their significant role back then.
What's interesting is the mention of Lamon Cottrell meeting with Degree Talbot. That sounded positive.
Cottrell's a respected figure there, so yeah, that initial positive meeting could be seen as a good sign.
Right.
But the diplomat wisely emphasizes the final decision rests with the full quorum, and perhaps most importantly, with President Mitt Romney.
His position seems key here. The article calls his stance enigmatic.
Yes. No clear endorsement in the presidential race, very vague about Deseret's long-term future within the Western states.
So the possibility of secession, it's definitely an undercurrent.
A significant one. Is Romney genuinely thinking about secession? Or is he just using the possibility as leverage?
To negotiate better terms, more autonomy.
Could be. Either way, whatever the quorum decides, it's going to have profound, far-reaching consequences for the whole region's stability and unity.
Okay, let's move beyond the Western states' immediate politics for a bit. Other intriguing stuff in this issue. The Stargate team seems to be making progress. High-level meetings in Ottawa.
Yes. Prime Minister Khanjari hosted Dr. Daniel Jackson and Dr. Alistair Finch the director of CERN.
Finch from CERN, right.
And after their visit to the Diefenbunker, well, the likelihood of that becoming the Stargate team's main hub seems very high now.
The Diefenbunker. Makes sense. Secure location.
And the article highlights the massive public interest, just the sheer number of applications they received.
Wow. So the prospect of interdimensional exploration, even after everything, it still captures the imagination.
It really does. That sense of wonder, the desire for discovery, it persists.
These Ottawa meetings must be critical, though. Setting up the framework, funding, mandate, ethical stuff.
Absolutely crucial. Establishing a robust, well-defined structure is paramount for something this ambitious, this potentially risky.
And having Jackson's expertise with ancient cultures and dimensions alongside Finch's scientific background, that seems like a good mix.
Essential for success and safety, you'd think.
Speaking of familiar faces, Teal R. The diplomat announces he's visiting our universe.
Big news. That's sure to generate a lot of excitement, especially for those remembering his role during the Clampett crisis.
He's widely seen as a hero, isn't he?
For sure. Dr. Jackson confirmed Teal's just completed some long-term classified mission. Vital for stability across realities, apparently.
But he won't be joining the new Stargate team.
No, the focus remains on our universe developing its own capabilities. Self-sufficiency.
Got it. But still, celebrations are planned to honor him.
Yes, a well-deserved recognition of his past contributions, his sacrifices, his bravery. A chance for people to show gratitude.
Definitely well-deserved. Okay, shifting gears completely now. Royal visit to Guadalajara. Arabette de Bourbon.
Yes, a brief report on that, and the immediate speculation that she might become Liam Wu's Duchess.
Huh. Fascinating how quickly we go from Stargates to royal romance speculation.
Well, Arabette de Bourbon is a notable figure in European royalty. Significant lineage, connections to Spain and France.
Makes her seem like an ideal candidate on paper, right? Noble background. Ties to Spain, where Guadalajara is.
That's the reasoning laid out. Even with zero official confirmation, the visit alone has clearly sparked huge public interest.
The enduring fascination with royal matches, new alliances, even now, it's quite something.
It really is. Now, back to more concerning matters, the Orcish Horde situation.
Right. The Western states' determination to retake New Bugtussle. Why is that city so important strategically?
The article explains reclaiming the former U.S. capital is seen as crucial for any potential peace talks with the Orcs.
As long as Deathcleaver holds it.
Exactly. As long as Cargill Deathcleaver controls that symbolic location, the Western states will likely stay on high alert, hesitant about serious peace talks. It's strategic, but also about reclaiming their past.
But the prospects for getting it back soon seem bleak because of Deathcleaver.
Largely, yes. His focus is still on expansion and this obsessive desire to revive the Queen Mother entity.
Right, the Queen Mother.
And the article points out that the more peace-oriented Orc factions, like Curzon's group, they just don't control the key territory, especially New Bugtussle, needed to actually broker a lasting peace.
Yeah.
They lack the leverage.
And speaking of Deathcleaver, his activities in New Bugtussle sound weird. Building an altar.
Yeah, the diplomat paints a perplexing picture. He's reportedly fixated on constructing some kind of altar, even while his empire seems to be fracturing internally.
Bizarre. With dwindling resources, challenges to his authority, why focus on an altar?
Deeply puzzling. The article speculates. Maybe something fundamental to Orcish culture. Dark magic related to the Queen Mother.
Who knows? But it's an unusual priority.
And as the diplomat cautions, a cornered, unpredictable Deathcleaver could be even more dangerous. Can't get complacent.
Meanwhile, the internal Orc power struggles just keep going. Rie's Firehand moving on Stonemar, Arkansas, challenging Gelcash this year.
Exactly. Another significant shift. More fragmentation, direct confrontations between powerful Orc leaders. It just further destabilizes the whole region.
The balance of power is constantly shifting, makes long-term predictions impossible.
Pretty much.
The diplomat also gives a quick mention to Targath Bonejaw from the initial assault.
Yeah, describes him as legendary, fearsome, notes his connection to Granny Clampett, and that his son, Jura, is seen as less formidable.
Interesting how those figures from the start still cast long shadows.
They do. Those early encounters were so intense, so traumatic.
Yeah.
These key figures, human and Orc, remain big reference points for understanding what's happening now.
Okay, let's circle back to Curzon Icewolf. He sent a peace message to the Western states.
Yes, which, on the surface, sounds positive. But the article also mentions simultaneous reports. Curzon talking to the Church of the Ozark Ascension, and other Orcish factions, too.
So that raises questions about his real intentions, doesn't it?
It certainly does.
Right.
Talking to such diverse groups at once. Is he genuinely seeking peace? Or is this manipulation?
Trying to play different sides, consolidate his own power within the fractured horde.
The potential for ulterior motives is definitely there. The Western states will surely be approaching his message very cautiously.
Okay. And now for the completely unexpected curveball in the diplomat's reporting.
Ah, you mean the theory.
The theory that Kargul Deathcleaver could actually be Jethro Bodine. I admit I laughed when I read that.
It is truly, truly bizarre. But somehow it's gained a little traction in the Western states.
How?
Well, Jethro disappeared after the Climate crisis, right?
Yeah.
His fate's a mystery. This theory is just a wild attempt to explain it.
Wild is one word for it. The article contrasts Kargul's known brutality with Jethro's unique character.
Yeah, highlights the sheer improbability. The more common theory, still speculative, is him wandering the multiverse, which seems slightly less unbelievable.
You gotta admire the human need to create stories, even ones like that. Okay, quick check-in. Cristiano Ronaldo, still playing pirate.
Seems so. The diplomat confirms he left Hong Kong on his ship.
And the bidding war from football clubs continues, his tournament idea.
Yep, all still happening. Adds to the uncertainty about his long-term plans. Definitely an unconventional path after pro sports.
From pirates to geopolitics, the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, they rejected membership in the sense of right alliance.
Firmly rejected it. Yes, that's a significant decision.
Why?
According to the article, their main focus is territorial expansion, consolidating power in Eastern Europe now that Russia has collapsed.
So regional dominance over global alliances.
Seems that way. Raises concerns about instability in that region, of course, as different powers jockey for influence.
And finally, Kazakhstan, reaching Archangel.
Yes, the diplomat reports Kazakh forces reached the port of Archangel, secured vital naval resources there.
Wow. That sounds like a major power shift in post-Russian Europe.
Absolutely. It significantly boosts Kazakhstan's military capabilities, gives them naval power they didn't have, transforms them into a much bigger player in that region.
Another clear sign of how rapidly the geopolitical map is changing after everything. So, as we piece all this together from this one issue of the Ottawa Diplomat, what's clear is just how dynamic, how interconnected everything still is.
It really is.
You've got the high-stakes Western states election impacting the capital, Deseret's future, then the Orc territories, still volatile, unpredictable, these peace whispers struggling against internal fights, and Deathcleaver's weird agenda.
Right. And then you have the Stargate team developments hinting at this future of interdimensional possibilities.
Yeah. And even the personal lives, royals, celebrities, weaving into the bigger story.
Exactly. The post-Climate crisis world is just this complex tapestry. Political moves, lingering threats, surprising personal stories, all tangled together.
Decisions made in one place, maybe even one dimension, can have ripple effects everywhere else.
Unforeseen consequences are almost the norm now.
It really makes you think, doesn't it, about the long-term ripples of all this. So for you listening, which of these situations grabs you the most? Is it the political drama out west, the delicate dance with Deseret, the Orc mysteries, or maybe the Stargate potential?
Each story, as the diplomat shows, is a piece of this larger, constantly shifting picture of our world.
And we'll definitely keep tracking these developments. Maybe future deep dives can go even further into some of these areas. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.